Okay, so I may end up regretting this, but I've gone and drained my van battery to the point where it won't start whilst parked in the middle of nowhere. Now, there is a method to the madness, I hope. Let me explain. Not too long ago, VTOMAN reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in testing their Jump 2200 battery as part of a sponsored partnership. Now, I was pretty intrigued by the high capacity of this battery because it suits van life, but also because it has the jump start feature, which I think is pretty unique. So I said, yes. It's heavy. It's a battery. Now, before we test out the jump feature on this thing, which seriously better work because I legit have no backup, I wanted to put this thing through its paces. Now, this is a tech channel after all, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity to do some off-grid gaming. I brought with me a selection of gadgets for the ultimate off-grid gaming setup, but will the VTOMAN be up to the task? Let's find out. Ow. Okay, that's the gaming setup done. I'm pretty chuffed with how it's turned out, so I'll just talk you through what we've got. We've got a Acer Nitro 24-inch monitor, Steam Deck's docked over there, obviously that's connected to the monitor, my Logitech keyboard and mouse combination, JBL speaker for sound which is connected to the monitor. We've got the Pixel Snap stand here for my phone, which is a nice little luxury. And then the one I'm looking forward to the most is actually an espresso machine over there because I am desperate for a coffee now after setting all of that up. Got the VTOMAN set up over there and it's drawing 90 watts at the moment and it says that we have 18 hours left. So that's pretty decent. And obviously we've got Pac-Man over there as well, so that's essential, isn't it? So got that with me. Cheers. So obviously this is a bit of an extreme setup example. I don't think most people will be taking a monitor and full portable gaming setup and espresso machine with them, but I just really wanted to put the VTOMAN through its paces just to see if it is the power horse that the specs say it is, and what I'm seeing so far is yes, it is. So I'm going to try and do some gaming now on here and just test a couple of bits out and just see how it copes with that. I'll try not to think about the van battery whilst I'm doing that, but I reckon if I can take it down to about maybe 20%, that should be safe. Bit of finger in the air maths there, so don't know. So yeah, let's crack on, let's do some gaming.
Congratulations. Not on the test. Most people emerge from suspension terribly undernourished. I want to congratulate you on beating the odds and somehow managing to pack on a few pounds.
So it's actually getting a little bit cold in here for my liking, so what I'd normally do is turn on my gas heater, which is built into the van. But, you know, as we've got electricity, I'm going to plug in this fan ceramic type heater thing and just see how the VTOMAN copes with it. Now, I've had to move it because it's huge. So when it was on the surface before, there wasn't enough space to get it into place. Now, a little bit niche. Not sure if it's a problem with the design of the VTOMAN or if it's just because, you know, I've got this massive heater thing. Could be a problem for some if you've got sort of huge things. So it's not the most powerful heater. It's got a little fan in it, drawing about 600 watts. The fans on the VTOMAN did kick in and then they've gone off again, so it's obviously quite comfortable running that. The noise you can hear is actually this fan from the heater, so I'm going to leave that on for a little bit.
It's okay, baby. We're safe. We're safe. Hey! We need help. Stop! Please. It's my daughter. I think her leg is broken. Stop right there!
So now we're really pushing it. So we've got the, obviously, gaming setup, an espresso running, and this heater's still running at full blast. And I just saw that go over 2,000 watts. And if we kept going at this rate, it's saying we'd only have half an hour, which is fair. Just another little luxury here, powered by the VTOMAN. Okay, so we've seen this thing in action. Let's just talk quickly about specs. So it has a 1,548 watt LiFePO4 or LFP battery, which means you've got plenty of capacity, and it also means you're going to get plenty of recharge cycles out of it as well. Now, if 1,548 watts isn't enough battery for you, then you can expand it using this port here, where you can add additional batteries. In terms of ports, they're all nicely separated by these sort of orange borders here, which makes it really clear which bits you're turning on and using these individual buttons. So you've got the DC input here, and that can be used to charge it from your car or from solar panels. You've got USB-C outputs here, and then you have 4 USB-A ports here. You've got a DC 12 volts out here, cigarette lighter port, as a lot of people might know it as, and you've got the standard sort of DC ports here as well. You've got 3 AC outputs, and as it says here, they are pure sine wave, which means you're going to get a nice clean output to any sensitive electronics, and you're not going to get any of those weird buzzing noises in the background. Now, when it comes to batteries, safety is my top priority, especially if I'm sleeping with it inside the van for obvious reasons, and VTOMAN clearly take this stuff very seriously. On the website, they talk about something called Super Safe Life BMS system, which is, I assume, a marketing term, but what it actually lists out is 10 smart built-in safety protections. So that's given me lots of confidence that this is a very safe battery unit. And obviously the star of the show for me is this little jumper cable port here, where you can hopefully jumpstart your vehicle. Right, I think it's time for a proper stress test now, so I'm just going to plug in as many things as I can and just see how it handles it. So we've got massage pillow on, of course. Gaming setup still on, so the Steam Deck's being powered, as is the monitor. We've got my iPad Pro's being charged, my second phone's being charged, the one I use for B-roll. We've got the heater plugged in, which I'll turn on in a minute. Got this ring light on over here, just, you know, because I know it draws a lot of power, so, and obviously Pac-Man. So let's turn the heater on, and then what I'm going to do is turn on this kettle as well. So that's as much as I can give it, really. Let's see how it goes. Heater on. Full power. Let's boil some water. Okay, let's have a look now. And even with all of that on, not really anywhere near its maximum output. Yeah, the remaining time's dropped down quite a bit there, but that's assuming we leave all of these things on. So I would call that a successful stress test. And I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I think the jump start will work absolutely fine, because this thing's impressive, seriously. Right, that's everything packed away. I've really put this beast through its paces. It's now down to 22% battery. That's probably about as far as I'm willing to push it. So I guess the only thing to do now is to see if we can get it to jump start the van. Stay. Jump cable. So, tiny little problem. Obviously we need the battery up here to be close enough. My point I'm meant to connect to is that metal bit there. And this cable, even though I've got the jump right up here, is so short, I think I'll have to find another spot to link it up to. The positive one's a bit longer, but the positive point was just here, so yeah, need to work this out. The only one I can see that's close enough is this rusty bolt here, near to the positive. I've connected it to the bottom side of that because this is metal here. So that should be grounded. If this doesn't work, then we have a problem. Oh. Okay, I really didn't want to resort to this, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I've had to tip the battery like that in order to get a good connection. So by doing it that way, it means I can get the cables to where I need to get them to. And if you look around here, I've actually got a voltage reader in my van, and that's showing 11.5. And then to test if I've got a good connection or not, I'm just going to press the booster button here. And if we go around here, again, that's now at 12.5. So what I'm going to do is leave it connected for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and then try again. I really do need this to work. Whilst we're here though, let's have a little look at this flashlight. It's pretty handy. But if those cables were just a little bit longer, well, a lot longer actually, you could have that facing the other way and the light shining into the engine whilst you're connected the cables and things. But whether it's just my van, the cables are just way too short. But if it works, then it really is a unique feature and should be an easy fix, right? To provide longer cables or an extension. Okay. Boost. Go. Come on, 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 come on. Yes! It worked. Okay, so I'm going to leave the engine running a little bit to let the battery charge up. Seems like a good time to give you my final thoughts. So we'll come to the jump start later, but let's just talk about how it performed as a power station. I was really impressed. I thought it was straight out of the box. I could tell it was a really good quality unit. It felt really solid, and like it's got the single handle on it for carrying. Some of the other batteries I've used have 2 handles on, and that sounds easier, right? But you kind of have to do this little penguin waddle when you carry it along, and it's just really awkward, whereas this is just pick it straight up with a handle. Works great. The other thing I want to mention is this might be a con for some, but for me it's a pro. So this doesn't come with a dedicated app. Now I know a lot of batteries out there do come with an app where you can control things like power output, charging speed, all that kind of stuff. And that does serve a purpose, but I really liked how simple this was. It's just got, you know, push buttons on that you push and then it works, and you don't have to think about any of that. Obviously I've been doing lots of tests with it today, plugging in all kinds of gear. We had a kettle running off it, a heater, an espresso machine, monitor, all sorts of things, all running off it at the same time, and it didn't skip a beat. It was just completely happy to provide that much power. I heard the fans kick in on it a few times, but all the air coming out of it was cold, so it's clearly not straining it. It was actually quite a lot of effort to get it down to 22% battery. I just had to keep chucking more things at it, and it just handled it all. So yeah, really impressed with that, and it just felt really reliable. Okay, so we're going to have to talk about the jump start feature. Now, this is one of its greatest strengths and also weaknesses. I'll try and explain how I feel about it. The fact that it has that feature is great. I don't know any other sort of big power station that has that as an additional feature that performs that well, doing the day-to-day stuff, but can also jump start as well. So for people with camper vans and stuff, I think that's just genuinely a quality of life improvement to have both of those things combined in one. Now, the problem started with this cable. Now, whether there's a technical reason behind it, I don't know, but it's just too short. Really limited in terms of options. You saw I was struggling there to find a decent connection to get that started. Granted, a few times when I did get a good connection, it probably didn't start because I drained the battery too much. So maybe that's on me for kind of pushing my van a little bit too hard at the start in order to do this test. But, you know, it did work in the end. I'm pleased that it worked. I just wish that this cable was a little bit longer. And the other thing I want to say about it is also about the cable, because this isn't included in the box. Now, I think the jump start is its key feature. It's even in the name. So I think VTOMAN should probably think about including this and just making those cables a little bit longer. But the van's running, it worked. As for what you do get in the box, you get this really nice carry case, which was nice to get all the cables in. And inside you've got this very reassuring, hefty power brick for mains charging. I mean, bigger than my face, maybe? Pretty big. But yeah, feels good quality. Okay, what else do you get in this? So you get just a USB A to C lead, which is useful because it has USB A ports, a C to C lead, again, because it has those ports as well. And you also get this charging adapter, which you can use in the 12-volt cigarette lighter in your car, which goes to DC. And as you saw earlier, it has 2 DC inputs. That's for this and for solar panels as well. So overall, yes, I've had a great day. The VTOMAN's been almost perfect. If you haven't subscribed already, do subscribe. I do a lot of tech stuff. I'm hoping to do a little bit more bringing the tech into outdoors as well, because they're two passions brought together basically. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.